Imagine a time when the British Empire was a global force, with India at its heart, a land rich in diverse cultures, languages, and traditions. As the sun never set on the British Empire, its influence reached far and wide, with India being one of its most prized possessions. In the late 19th century, the British found themselves amidst a rich tapestry of cultural diversity in India to streamline governance, trade, and administration. They identified the need for a common language, a lingua franca that could bridge the multitude of languages spoken across the subcontinent. Enter English, the language of the colonizers. It began to take root in the Indian landscape, not just as a means of communication, but as a tool of authority, a symbol of power that transcended the barriers of language, culture, and tradition. And thus, English emerged, wielding immense power as the language of the empire. Enter John Nesfield, an English grammarian whose work would change the face of English education in India. Nesfield's groundbreaking book, English Grammar, Past and Present, published in the late 19th century, brought a seismic shift in the way English was taught and learned across the British Empire. Rather than a haphazard approach, this book offered a comprehensive overview of English syntax, morphology, and semantics, equipping students with a robust structure to decode the complexities of the language. But the impact of Nesfield's grammar extended beyond the classrooms. It became a cornerstone of the British education system in India, standardizing the teaching of English across the subcontinent. This standardization allowed Indian students, regardless of their backgrounds, to navigate the intricacies of colonial society. It was their key to unlocking doors of opportunity, their ticket to social mobility and professional success. Nesfield's grammar was more than a book. It was a ticket to social mobility and professional success. But the legacy of Nesfield's English grammar is not without its complexities. As we delve into these complexities, we must remember the broader context of colonialism and imperialism that defined the era. The imposition of English education in India was not merely an act of benevolence by the British. Rather, it was a calculated strategy aimed at sustaining British hegemony and suppressing indigenous knowledge systems. English, as introduced through Nesfield's grammar, became more than a language. It became a symbol of cultural subjugation. It was a tool that, in the hands of the colonizers, was used to mold Indian society according to their own ideals and standards. This imposition sparked intense debates over identity, nationalism, and resistance. However, the narrative is not solely one of oppression. English also emerged as a language of opportunity, providing a pathway to social mobility and professional success for many Indians. From the classrooms where Nesfield's grammar was taught, arose individuals who would use the language not just to navigate the complexities of colonial society, but also to challenge it. Prominent figures like Rabindranath and Mahatma Gandhi grappled with the complexities of English as both a tool of empowerment and a weapon of oppression. They harnessed its potential to challenge colonial rule and envision alternative futures. English was not just a language, it was a symbol, a debate, a struggle. As we continue to explore Nesfield's legacy, we must remember its multi-dimensional nature and the profound impact it had on the landscape of India's history. Yet, in the midst of these complexities, we find stories of resilience and intellectual exchange. As English took root in the Indian educational system, it sparked a vibrant dialogue, a dance of resistance and adaptation that profoundly shaped the intellectual landscape of the subcontinent. Indian scholars and activists, far from being passive recipients of this foreign tongue, actively engaged with it, harnessing its potential to challenge the colonial status quo. They used the language of the colonizers not just as a means of communication, but as a tool of empowerment, a weapon to articulate their own narratives of identity and nationhood. Take Rabindranath Tagore, for instance. The first non-European Nobel laureate in literature, Tagore grappled with the complexities of the English language, transforming it into a medium of creative expression that resonated with the global audience. His works served as a testament to the power of language as a bridge between cultures, a conduit of shared human experiences. Then we have Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the Indian nation. Though critical of the colonial education system, Gandhi recognized the strategic value of English. He used it to communicate with the colonial authorities, to rally international support for India's freedom struggle, and to articulate his vision of an independent India. In the annals of education, Nesfield's name may stand as a symbol of linguistic authority, but the true legacy lies in the stories of countless individuals whose lives were transformed by the power of language.